welcome to the Deep Dive. You sent us quite a stack of sources this time, a really wild mix.
It is. We've got ancient philosophy, modern branding guides, celebrity analysis, even financial strategy.
And our job is to turn all of that into the ultimate knowledge shortcut for building your best self.
Yeah, today we're not just summarizing. We're trying to extract a practical blueprint for intentional living.
The ultimate project, self-creation.
Exactly. Our mission here is to show you how to intentionally reprogram your identity and your reality to get the results you want. And a lot of these sources, interestingly, frame it around getting ready for the year 2026.
Okay, let's unpack that. What's so fascinating to me is how all these, totally different fields, Tantra, Wall Street analysis, they all seem to point to one single powerful idea.
They do.
That your external reality is just a reflection of your internal program. So we're going straight into design mode today, starting with the software, starting with your mind.
Right. So to start with the fundamental mechanism of reality, we have to begin with that core loop. Results start with a thought. That thought drives a behavior, and that behavior creates your results. But let's, anchor this in something a little deeper than just positive thinking.
And this is where it gets really interesting. We found these sources making a pretty esoteric connection.
Yeah.
Arguing that the same mathematical ratios that govern cosmic harmony, like the PHI ratio, the golden mean.
Right, the golden mean proportion.
That those are the very principles that govern creation itself. And that they're found everywhere, including, this is the key part, inside your own body.
Exactly. That golden mean is the pattern of elegant growth, of balance. You find it in everything from, ancient architecture to the structure of your own DNA.
Your vascular system, even.
Your vascular system. So if you accept that idea, that reality has this kind of deep, inherent harmony, then creating your future self isn't fighting against reality.
It's more like you're aligning with it.
You're strategically aligning your intentional internal blueprint with that universal structure.
Which makes the intentional design of self not just like a nice idea, but almost a necessity. So if we know we're connected to this universal harmony, and that results start with thought, how do we actually program the thoughts that matter?
You have to change your focus.
Okay.
And this is the job of your reticular activating system, or your RAS.
The RAS.
Think of the RAS as your brain's super efficient spam filter. It sifts through this massive amount of sensory information you get every day and decides what's important enough to let through based on your core beliefs.
So if my core belief is, say, that I'm unlucky or that money is hard to come by,
then your RAS will actively filter out evidence of opportunity.
Yeah.
It will only show you things that confirm that negative story.
Wow. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's orchestrated by our own biology.
That's it. The mission then is to reprogram that filter. You have to reprogram it to validate the identity you want to have.
And that's where the proactive design comes in. One of the best practical tools we found for this was the 2026 Character Bible.
I love this idea.
It's not just goal setting. This is writing the complete high-fidelity blueprint of the person you are becoming. It's like a dossier for a film character.
So you write down their style, their personality,
Their daily habits, their emotional baseline, their whole narrative arc. You create the identity.
in that new identity, it needs constant reinforcement.
Yeah.
Which is where identity statements come in.
Right.
They're just simple, consistent sentences you use every day. Things like, I am a woman who honors her boundaries without guilt.
Or I am a woman who receives support.
And when you visualize yourself living those statements, you are literally forcing your brain to use that new neural pathway. You strengthen it every single day like a muscle until the RAS has no choice but to start validating that new identity.
Okay, so let's move from the software, the identity, to the hardware, the physical machine that has to actually execute this new program.
The body.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to highlight that anecdote from the sources. The person who had the healthiest routine ever.
Oh yeah, that was fascinating.
Super disciplined workouts every day, perfect eating, good sleep. And yet they were feeling drained, anxious, and even gaining weight.
And the problem was hormonal imbalance. It was driven by just too much physical pressure
So the workout.
from the workouts. Intense, daily, heavy weightlifting, while it's great for building muscle, it also signals massive stress to the body. It releases these continuous high levels of cortisol,
Fight or flight mode.
perpetual fight or flight. So the body, it responds by holding on to resources,
Yeah.
and that leads to the anxiety, to that mysterious weight gain.
So the solution wasn't more discipline. It was about signaling safety.
Exactly. They corrected the chemical inputs, so they added targeted supplements like vitamin D, magnesium for relaxation, B complex, and crucially, they cut back on the daily high-intensity work.
They switched from heavy weights to what, lower impact stuff?
Lower impact activities, walking, Pilates, dance classes. The sources noted that consistent high-intensity exercise can signal danger.
Whereas these lower impact activities signal safety.
Right, it allows the nervous system to regulate and the hormonal system to finally restore its balance.
This feeds so perfectly into that whole concept of energy and presence.
It does.
We hear the term feminine energy a lot, but our sources define it not as a look, but as a strategic energetic state, an aura of magnetism.
Yeah, and the distinction they make is really useful. Masculine energy, in this context, is about doing, about working hard.
And feminine energy is about receiving, about attracting opportunities magnetically.
And the shift into that receiving energy is actually really practical. It means slowing down your movements, your speech, being intentional with how you communicate.
Removing the filler words.
Removing filler words, yeah. It also means making everyday things more pleasurable. Savoring your coffee, actually enjoying your perfume, or just dancing while you walk.
So to clarify for you, the listener, the big idea here is that your self-respect regulates your nervous system. And a regulated nervous system is what ultimately controls how your presence shows up in the world. It's what attracts or repels opportunities. It makes a regulated nervous system a genuine superpower.
And we should briefly touch on the more extreme side of physical optimization. The sources mention some highly specialized protocols.
Right, the carnivore diet. They cited it as an ultimate healing diet used for things way beyond just weight loss.
And we have to report on this impartially. The key caveat they give is that success requires you to completely remove all non-carnivore foods.
But there's a danger in eating too lean.
A big one. If you only focus on, say, chicken breast or very lean cuts, you can risk protein poisoning. It overwhelms the liver.
And the symptoms are things like hair loss, low energy, and these constant sugar cravings.
It just shows that intentional physical action requires deep use, not just extreme effort. So once that internal machine, the thoughts, the hormones, the nervous system is all tuned and regulated, we can start to engineer the output.
The output being your public presence.
Yeah.
Your strategic external brand.
Exactly. The modern mandate, as one source put it, is to turn your entire existence into a brand that feels expensive and exclusive.
The goal is audacity.
Audacity. To be so unique and cohesive in your visual identity that people have no choice but to accept the world you've built around yourself.
You see this perfectly with artists, right? The ones who build an instantly recognizable world.
Take Billie Eilish. Her brand is crystal clear. The masked, gloomy, tomboy vibe paired with these deeply vulnerable lyrics. It's a whole world.
Or Rosé from Blackpink.
Yeah.
When she went solo, she didn't just ditch the group's pink aesthetic.
No, she embraced it. She reshaped it to signify her evolution, linking her origins to her new identity. It was brilliant.
And when that branding fails, the audience just gets confused. It kills the magnetism.
Right. That analysis suggested Lisa's alter ego branding became too blurred. It spread across too many genres, and it just hindered audience recognition.
Success really relies on that strong, cohesive visual identity.
It creates a sense of inevitability around you. And this idea of intentional curation, it extends right into your physical environment.
We reviewed those sources, talking about manifestors who don't just visualize a nice house.
No, they are obsessively specific. They have Zillow boards full of houses they can't afford yet.
But they know the exact chandelier they're going to hang in the entry hall.
Oh, okay. And this is where the future self-home audit comes in. It links directly back to that identity work we talked about.
So you look at your current stuff.
Yeah.
That thing you've held onto, that piece of furniture that just looks tired.
And you ask the question, does the wealthy, successful 2026 version of me live with this item?
And if the answer is no,
You get rid of it. It's an active process of curating your environment to match the high-level world you're building. It's the same principles the founder of Sporty and Rich talked about for business building, an entire world around your product.
okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's look at navigating transactional dynamics in life, whether that's in dating or business or client relationships.
Right. One analysis was very clear on this. It viewed dating in the strategic context as a sales game.
And winning requires playing the long game.
The central strategy across all these sources is leverage. You have to collect information and, this is critical, create alternatives. You can never negotiate from a position of desperation.
Desperation just dissolves your power, romantically, financially, whatever.
Instantly.
So this requires requires a real attitude shift. The sources call it cultivating black cat energy.
I love that phrase.
It's seeing yourself as a prize. It's avoiding that exhausting pick-me energy that makes you overgive.
And the paradox is, the less you overdo and overexplain, the more a high-value partner or client will step up. They're allowed to expand you, rather than you shrinking yourself through performance.
And that expansion, it hinges on understanding value beyond just the surface level.
Yes. The sources suggest that a lot of men rarely feel desired for who they are, but more for what they can provide. So the strategic element for those seeking relationships is to robustly vet those providers.
There was that critical question that high-value people ask about any transactional dynamic.
Does this relationship or this deal increase my capacity to thrive?
Right, so that means filtering out the fake providers,
Yeah.
the ones who offer resources based only on potential, or the self-first providers who only benefit themselves.
And the sources even suggest that intimacy can serve as a physical barometer of relational intent. Well, if a man is serious about you, he won't rush forward. He'll focus on your pleasure, he'll seek to learn your body. If he focuses only on his own needs.
It signals that you're seen as a casual transaction.
Exactly. And moving into the purely transactional business space, we saw a fascinating parallel in service careers.
You're talking about the analysis of the escort industry.
I am. Success there, according to these sources, is often tied to treating the role like a business with a clear financial expiration date.
So it's setting a specific financial goal, living below your means.
And aggressively investing the earnings into a clear next chapter.
But the truly high-value transaction, even in that field, involves providing something that money can't technically buy.
Real, genuine connection. They mention techniques like soft focus eye contact, where the client feels genuinely seen and chosen.
Which ensures repeat business.
Because that emotional fulfillment is the true premium product. It just illustrates that in any transaction, the highest value often lies in the non-monetary elements you bring to the table.
Wow, what an incredible synthesis of self-creation. From, programming the subconscious and tuning the nervous system, all the way to strategically branding your presence and navigating power dynamics.
It's powerful stuff, but we have to acknowledge the massive stress that underpins this whole discussion.
For sure.
The sources note that this drive for constant physical and aesthetic perfection is fueled by online scrutiny, and it's reached a point where, paradoxically, the more perfect and curated you look.
The less human you appear.
Exactly. This pursuit of flawless output is just physically and mentally draining.
So, if the goal is this intentional growth towards the 2026 self, how do we mitigate that crushing burden of perfectionism?
True growth requires a fundamental shift in how you view failure and imperfection. You have to recognize that failure isn't punishment.
It's feedback.
It's merely feedback. It is a gift that's guiding you to the right path. You have to separate your identity from the outcome.
So here is a provocative thought for you to carry forward from all this.
Yeah.
The reality is, you have a short, crucial window of time right now to iterate quickly and make as many failures as possible.
And why is that?
Because right now, especially early in your journey, nobody actually expects you to be great yet. Use this moment of low external expectation to iterate, to fail fast, build a foundation you need to be truly successful later.